text line from the 832, or opinion, I guess. They should try to trade Presley for a couple relievers. I'm not there yet, but I see the vision in which you text us from. It makes sense. If you find a team that has a deeper bullpen but lacks like an elite closer,
He's not an elite closer. Who's going to trade for him?
I still wonder if by the deadline, if people would view him as that way still.
Well, he has to pitch better. No one's looking at Ryan Presley an elite closer right now. You're not getting much in return for him. You would be getting the same kind of scraps that you traded in exchange for a Justin Verlander the first time around, or for a Garrett Cole the first time around, or for a Yordan Alvarez way back in the day.
Yeah, I really, one of my biggest concerns with the Astros is that if trying to be positive and hopeful and back of the baseball cardy as they want to be, that like this is going to turn around, is what happens when it doesn't, or if it doesn't. And I don't know if I trust that this committee will allow Dana Brown to trade guys like Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker.
Well, normally, Joe, when people are saying something is going to happen and they're in a position of power and they keep saying it's going to happen and, lie, well, generally they end up. Now, there's a variety of different things that can mean, and I mean fired. But I don't know that that's what's going to happen. I don't know that Jim Crane's so reactionary that he's going to blame Dana Brown or Joe Espada for the struggles right now.
No, but like if it stays this way, the most logical thing to do would be to reset your franchise.
And he
did, a little bit, not a full reset, but just a tiny little bit.
Jim Crane did do a reset in 2011.
Like don't do that. But like if you're not going to pay Bregman,
I'm saying he's not Jerry Jones, where it's always like we don't want to fall all the way out. He has a ability to see in the long term and make moves for the long term. It's just he hasn't had to do it in a while.
I want to agree with you because he did it, but Jeff Luhnow told him to do that. My concern is that Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio and Reggie Jackson will tell him at the deadline, if things don't get better, that they're going to. That like next year, and not trading Kyle Tucker before he eventually walks in free agency, not trading Alex Bregman before he for sure walks in free agency. They're going to try to convince. They're going to do the opposite of Jeff Luhnow. Jeff Luhnow said, "Dude, it's real bad here. We're going to really tear this thing down to the studs,
lean it out,
and like really suck for a couple years." But trust me, I wonder if they're going to go in and be like, "Trust me, but you shouldn't."
Well, that's generally what boomers do, is kick the can down the road and not actually think about the future. So that's probably exactly what they'll do. Pushing back on something you said a little bit ago. Little reset? There's no such thing. What are you talking about? There's no such thing as a little reset. You reset or you don't. If they reset, if they move on from Alex Bregman, they move on from Kyle Tucker, they move on from Framber Valdez, they move on from those guys, whether it's by trade or they just let them walk, that is a hard reset. They are going to be bereft of significant amounts of talent that are not coming back up. And I get it. It's not like they're going to be the Oakland A's or anything like that. But, okay, Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, Christian Javier, among others. You feel pretty good about that. But no, there's no little reset. It's either you keep on trying to make this work and MacGyver your way towards being a contending team, just make the playoffs and figure it out from there, or you just get rid of everything and try to build back up the farm system again.
Okay, so I guess my semantics here, or to explain myself better, the reason why I say little reset versus big reset is I'm not trading a single player that has a contract that I like. I'm not trading Yainer, Yordan, Altuve, obviously. Like those guys, they're untouchable. They're still my core of when we're going to win again soon.
Yeah, it's the guy.
If you get to that point.
The guy, yeah, again, this is like if they're still like below 500 at the trade deadline. Like this is where it's a situation where you're not resetting. Like actually the play on the field has reset it for you. That this team is so bad that you have no chance to like believe that you have a move to make, or you have a run to make in this season. Then it's like, well, Bregman's not going to help you next year when he walks and goes plays for the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
But you will not be competitive with anybody. You won't.
I'm saying if they're already not competitive at the deadline, they're not competitive right now.
Okay, but then what's the end game if it's a half reset? You don't have the depth that the Braves have. You don't have the depth that the Orioles have. You don't have the depth that
you trade to get that depth.
Okay. Yeah, what are you trading?
You're trading Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman, Framber Valdez.
You're trading those guys though for lottery tickets.
You are.
Right.
100%.
Yes.
So,
but they have no lottery tickets.
Exactly. There's no half reset. You get rid of good players for theoretical talent.
Oh, I know.
It's a full reset.
It is. Especially because with their money wouldn't really change. Like you'd lose what, $30 million off Bregman's contract, like another like 15 from Presley or whatever he's getting made. So like you're not exactly gonna have a wealth of money to spend this offseason to fix it.
Oh, no, you're in the luxury tax.
But it's just you can't, if things are to happen to go this bad for the entire year, like you can't operate with Kyle Tucker, Framber Valdez, and Alex Bregman the way you did with Carlos Correa and George Springer because the team is showing you that you just can't.
It's also the case of like this team doesn't really have enough like good MLB players on it. Like there's still a lot of depending on the Spencer. It's all this past week of depending on the JP Francis and Spencer Arrigettis, and like you're calling Forrest Whitley up to pitch in one game and then send him back down. Like there's just not enough like quality innings on this team. It's a little bit of the Ryan Presley situation of like just break this one player into two players that can play at a reasonable level. Or like that's kind of what they need.
Yeah. It's and King of Twitch says here, no Tucker trade, untouchable, left-handed 5-tool player needs to be signed yesterday. Totally agree.
I agree, but the problem is it's going to be hard to do that because you're stuck with contracts for guys like, Jose Abreu and Ryan Presley and Lance McCullers and this year he's been good, Rafael Montero and Josh Hader. There's a lot of money that is going to guys who are going to get in the way of you re-signing the guy that is the obvious choice to actually be paying on this team. You're paying a lot of guys that aren't worth what they're getting paid.
Yeah, I would love for Kyle Tucker to be here for the long term. I don't see it. I wish he could be, but I just don't see that contract getting done.
If you contribute to that Jeremy Branham GoFundMe, I mean you can do your part. Mm-hmm. I'm doing my part.
978. Are the Astros the Warriors? No, because the Warriors have no future. Klay Thompson's going to be a free agent. Draymond Green really sucks, and Steph Curry is old and getting hurt again. The Astros, even if they had to have a bad year and make decisions that would be unpopular with the fans by trading popular players, they still have a young core that will win again.
They're also not the Warriors because the Warriors won 4 titles.
Touché.
Yeah, they don't. The Warriors don't have Yordan Alvarez. They don't have Yanner Diaz.
Yeah.
That's the difference. They have Jonathan Kuminga.
So you don't think Jonathan Kuminga is Yordan Alvarez, Sean?
No. He's like Pena. McCormick.
Okay.
It's about that level.
All right, now look, we've been very negative. We've been because there's not a lot to be positive about.
No, there's so much to be positive about. You guys just don't believe.
And you know what? Now it's time.
Give me my hat.
To welcome in.
Give me my staff.
I was actually hoping you were going to have props today for this.
Soon. I'll buy some. I'll buy like a bishop hat.
The Minister of Positivity has arrived to Gallant and George.
Oh no, what are we gonna do? The Astros are off to a slow start.
Maybe we gotta fire Joe Espada.
It looks like the season's over.
Silence! I am the Astros Minister of Positivity. How dare you question their greatness?
Should I speak like that? Does sound a little Panic Man adjacent.
I think so.
Yordan Alvarez! Thought he was slumping? Not anymore, bitch! Ended an 0-for-11 slump with an opposite field homer. He doesn't do that very often. That's pretty cool.
It was a home run in one ballpark in MLB.
Hey, this is a positive time, Sean. Don't interrupt the minister.
I'm saying they're playing to a home field, which has an
Silence! Jose Altuve, another multi-hit game. We like that. Best season of his career.
MVP. You can win MVPs in baseball and not be on the best team.
That's true.
Mike Trout told me that.
Silence! How dare you? Josh Hader struck out the side. I'm not even going to talk about what Joe Espada said about his job afterwards because it would have been nice that he pitched the 10th because that's not positivity. Guys, Rafael Montero, 1.8 ERA.
Making that Paul Gallant guy look like an idiot.
Oh, that fool! How dare he question the greatness of Hall of Famer Jeff Bagwell and his baseball expertise? Didn't that guy play flag football at the 1A level of
Massachusetts. Hashtag soft. Brian Abreu. It was better. 2 strikeouts in the 7th as the ERA's down to 6. JP France. Not bad, guys. 5 innings pitched. I mean, the 2 home runs. They went far, but come on.
It was good. Solid. Great mustache.
I'm not even going to talk about how they shouldn't have pitched to Marcell Ozuna and the reigning MVP, who was doing a little do-si-do around third base like an a-hole. Should have thrown at him. They're about to play the Nationals, who are 8-10. The Cubs, who are 11-7, but Joe believes to be a hollow 11-7. And Colorado in Mexico. Colorado's 4-15. Offense is going to get back on track with the lower gravity in Mexico, or whatever it is. Right? There's less gravity in Mexico.
Hey, I don't know if it's lower gravity or less gravity.
Oh.
The ball goes farther.
Okay, that makes sense. Lots of laser pointers there. You're gonna have to watch out for those. Hey, swapping Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker in the order worked. They were 2 for 6 with 4 walks and 2 runs batted in.
Very good.
Everyone hates on Joe Espada. That seems like a pretty good move.
There you go, cupcake.
It's pumpkin.
Oh, same thing.
Justin Verlander, he's back tomorrow. Huzzah! Framber Valdez, very possible that he's back on the road trip. Lots of things to be happy and positive about. This has been your Astros Minister of Positivity.
281. It's mid-April. We have a whole rotation now, including our top 2 starters. What are we doing? Well, the starters weren't a problem the last 4 games.
That person's being positive. He's being positive.
I do get surprised every time. I'm like, wow, it's only been 20 games.
Dude, that's
like,
the thing.
I don't mean to be it's only been 20 games guy. I mean this like genuinely. This season feels like they've already played 50.
Only an eighth of the way through.
It feels like they played 50 games.
That's how I feel, too. Like, it is 20 games, but it feels like this has been a season of suck.
Well, look, more positivity, if you want it to that texter's point. How many pitchers they used last year? 24. How many pitchers they've used this year? 23. And as Sean said, we're 20 games in.
That's crazy.
It does feel like it's been a lot longer.
How they only used 23 last year?
Well, I mean, there are guys that are just popping up on the roster. You're right. Last year,
How'd they do that? Because they weren't like that
they had
healthy
injuries.
last year.
Yeah.
yeah, they had some injuries. This year, guys are popping up. I'm like, who the hell is that?
And they're
Like
calling them up and sending them
Dubin?
down. And,
Yeah, they're bringing like our boy Wander Suero. They're putting him in
in
the 10th inning of a game and then cutting him the next day. Like it's just crazy.
And Blazer Henley. Blair.
My
bad.
I mean, Blazer might be a better name.
I know.
He might need to change his name now so we can stop dogging on him.
If he gets an arm sleeve and comes up again as Blaze Henley.
Yeah, if he comes up as Blaze Henley, I'm in.
Couple
no
more
hitter.
ticks on the fastball. Yeah.
713-780-3776. Let's go out to the HRMP listener line. Larry, what's going on?
I think people are just being overly dramatic. I mean, you don't even have a starting pitcher, so we're basically putting the minor league pitchers up there. And also, I mean, these Astros fans are acting like Patriot fans, very dramatic and soft. I'll hang up and listen.
Ooh, seems like that was a shot at someone on the show.
Dramatic and soft.
Joe. Seems like that was a shot at
the
Joe.
the Astros fans have been dramatic and soft.
They have been since 2019.
Dramatic and soft.
When things are good, you get accustomed to a certain level of living.
And
You
honestly,
do.
they're all turning on each other, too.
The comparisons between Astros and Patriots fans, I actually agree with Larry's point there, because I've been to Minute Maid Park and it's like a wine and cheese crowd. Going to Patriots games towards the end of the run, I mean, again, wine and cheese crowd, always nervous energy until they finally like put a team away, and then everyone would get rowdy. So always quiet. Lots of money people with money, they're going to these games now because the tickets are so jacked up and prices. I'm with him, but it's because we have a higher standard and we don't like the lower standard. You can't, once you go to the deluxe apartment in the sky, there's no one going back down to the lobby.
Yeah, and I
Squat on that thing.
I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was like Day One Donna and Dr. Dre. I started talking about this the other day on Twitch. I think it was just like all the Astros fans that showed up after 2017, like they're the ones who are just abandoning the team now and really are not sticking through it. And to Larry's point about fans being dramatic and all that stuff, like, what do you expect? This is the worst start the Astros have had since 2013. Of course, people are going to be a little panicky. Like, not everything can always be sunshine and rainbows. And Larry brought up the starting pitching too. Starting pitching is not the problem.
Amazingly, it's not.
It was a problem for it was the worst stretch of starting pitching we'd ever seen, right?
Yeah, it was like a week where it was a problem.
Yeah, but there's weeks around that are not problems. So the starting pitching coming back, it does nothing for me.
Like the three games that they just played against the Braves, like you got 3 starting pitching performances that you can win with. Like you can win with what they gave you. If just the offense scores more runs, you win.
If you told us that's what we were going to get going into this 3-game series, you would have taken that and run with it, especially with the offense scoring 8+ runs over 3 games against a pretty good Texas Rangers team that maybe has a pitching issue of their own right now with all the injuries they are waiting for.
Yeah, they just called up their top prospect, Jack Leiter. He's giving up 4 runs in the 2nd inning right now, the Detroit Tigers.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They're tied up again. So it is,
Wow, they called up Blair Henley. Cool.
It's so different, like seeing like these top prospects getting called, like Jackson Holiday, Jack Leiter.
Where like the MLB
Forrest
account
Whitley.
like tweets out a picture of them, and you're like, oh wow, I remember when that used to be the Astros.
512 Astros have given up the most runs in the league. Maybe not starting pitching, but pitching is the problem.
Oh yeah, the back
that
end
I do agree
The back
with.
end of the bullpen, like it was supposed to be the best in baseball.
Yeah, collectively,
So it's
it's a
been
problem.
the worst. It's that simple.
Yeah, and that kind of was what I was trying to say earlier was the beginning of the season, like the season starts, and it was everything this offseason we thought about the middle relief was a disaster. And then Abreu came back, and then it was very quickly Abreu, Presley, and Hader were not good. And then that led pretty much into your starting pitching stretch. And then now you're back to the back end of the bullpen and close games being disastrous.
And now you can't hit.
Yeah, so to the Texas point, yes.
It's been a little bit of everything.
The pitching is a problem. I'm just not sure how Justin Verlander pitching for the Astros tomorrow night solves that.